So God, I don't want to accidentally kill him or anything. It's just a tiny little pebble. Okay. I rolled a 19.
Yeah, so you don't, like, hurt him, of course, because you're not trying to hurt him. But that is a success. So it's a very impressive success, basically, is what happens. You throw the pebble, and it, like, ricochets off of one of the branches and then hits our dwarf friend square in the back, like right between the shoulder blades, with quite expert aim.
Gray stops where he is. You hear the very faint sound of sneakers squeaking against hardwood, and he turns around and looks up in the direction of the branch that it ricocheted off of, very, very confused.
Elise just kind of like, or Zuri just kind of like snickers. And she's like, she feels better now, having done that. She feels like she's gotten a win. And now that she recognizes that she's as agile as she is, she feels like more confident walking through these woods. And she's like, yeah, I did that. When the pebble ricocheted back, she picks it up and puts it in her pocket as a keepsake. So now she has both a dandelion and a pebble in her pocket.
You can have that be one inventory item. You don't have to take up two. No, you can just have the dandelion and the pebble take up just one inventory space.
Okay, cool. The dandelion is special, though. I want everyone to understand that the dandelion is extremely special to her.
So sweet. So Daisy is taking up the lead, with Gray/Yasolga sort of pushing a little bit to keep up. Daisy has, as I mentioned, they are like very, very heroic looking. Like, that's the only way I can really describe it. They're totally like built. They've got these flowing robes. There's definitely gleaming. You can see the gleam of armor underneath, and their big horse body is just like super confident, just trekking through the woods, stomping over the trees and leaves, and totally unfazed by any of the terrain. Whereas the rest of you guys, with the exception of maybe Dr. Turtle, since he can float, and Elise, because she has some innate reflexes, the rest of you guys are just kind of barely able to sort of figure out like how to navigate. And even Zuri, in your slightly more reflexive body, like, there's still like, the further you guys go, it gets more and more difficult. Like, it gets more and more rocky. The foliage gets thicker and thicker. The path gets thinner and thinner. And as the five of you guys are making your way through the woods, you hear off in the distance the clash of metal and a couple of angry cries and shouts coming from the distance. What do you do? And that is where we're going to go to commercial. Enjoy the artist spotlight.
Hi, Manny here. I play Dr. Turtle and Gareth, and I'm super excited to introduce this episode's spotlight, Alice Kira. Alice Kira, she Faye, is an independent TTRPG writer, podcaster, and general powerhouse content creator. Faye can be listened to throughout the actual play podcasting universe, bringing to life numerous iconic trans female heroes. One project worth checking out is Unlabeled AP, an actual play of Masks: A New Generation, where she plays the roller derby-obsessed technomage, Crash Override. She can also be found on Twitter at magicalgirlkira or on Itch.io at magical-girl-kira.itch.io, where she has created an array of unique games such as Hollytech and Jollymancy, a game about misfit North Pole workers coming together to save Christmas. You can support Alice by joining her Patreon or consuming any of her amazing TTRPG nerdy things she has created. Links to find all of her work and her social media can be found in the description box. Thank you.
It's me, Rose, your friendly neighborhood guide. I'm here to tell you about a fun new piece of news. This podcast is now part of the Audible Podcast Affiliate Program. Audible is an amazing way to find access to tons of great books. If you think about it, audiobooks are really the original podcasts. In the ancient days of the 90s and the early 2000s, before Spotify and Stitcher and Apple Podcasts, there were cassette tapes of Lord of the Rings and CDs of Stephen King novels. In modern times, we have to get a bit more creative with our audiobooks, and that's why there's Audible. There are also so many ways to support queer writers and writers of color by downloading their books. Here is a few fantasy or sci-fi suggestions that we'd like to offer. The Priority of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Considered by some to be the best epic fantasy book since Game of Thrones. Hazel and Grey by Nick Stone, which is an African-American retelling of Hansel and Gretel. The New York Times bestseller of Blood and Bone by Nora Roberts. And Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, a story about a lesbian space necromancer. Hazel and Grey and The Priority of the Orange Tree are both Audible exclusives. You can get a free 1-month Audible trial by visiting www.audibletrial.com/a-game-called-quest. That trial includes 1 token to get a free audiobook. So if any of those sound interesting to you, now's your chance. Get the joy of listening to great fantasy stories without the frustration of having to wait for the next podcast episode. Try Audible.
Snyder's Return is a tabletop role-playing podcast featuring interviews and a D&D 5e actual play adventure, so you can learn about different game systems and content creation, while also listening to us disrupt everyday life on the Sword Coast. We release episodes every Tuesday and Thursday on your podcasting platform, so come join us as we improvise, adapt, and overcome.
And now back to our quest.
You hear off in the distance the clash of metal and a couple of angry cries and shouts coming from the distance. What do you do?
Daisy, is that the town?
Daisy furrows their eyebrow and flips their long hair, their luscious long locks, and says, "No, we're quite a ways away from the town."
Oh, maybe that's Maya over there.
At least before she even, or Zuri, before she even can like think about what she's doing, she doesn't even think about it. Like she starts like charging towards the sound, like still like trying to kind of conceal herself, but she's still being like way too reckless with her decisions. So she's like rushing to the sound because she immediately is just like, Maya, right? But then she realizes as Zuri that she's not like really the one moving. It's like her body is just like moving normally, and she's like trying to stop herself, so she like bungles back a little bit.
Manny, did Dr. Turtle have anything that Dr. Turtle wanted to do? Then I'll jump ahead to where Zuri has run ahead.
No, all Dr. Turtle says is, "Those sound like bad vibes, man." And is feeling very uneasy about going over there because of the memory that is like twitching in the back of their mind about this environment itself. But that's it.
Yeah, so I think the rest of you kind of are sort of moving cautiously, but Zuri, in a sort of fit of instinct, dashed ahead, and in your hesitation, Zuri, you trip and you fall and break some sticks, and you're crawling along the ground, and you can see there's like a opening in the trees. You look up and you can see an opening in the trees, and as the sun gleams down, you can see the area is surrounded. The opening, there's like all these massive jagged rocks like spread around it, but you can't, and you can hear that the sounds are coming from there, but you can't tell what it is. And at that moment, the rest of the group, you guys are a little far back, but you see Zuri Elise trip and fall. So what do you do?
Whoa, new body?
Great, I don't think that's very funny right now. And Zach will help her up.
So the commotion is loud enough that you can now hear the clashing of swords, the pinging of arrows coming from the distance. Whatever's happening in this clearing is definitely a fight of some kind.
But we can't see anything yet?
Yeah, you'd have to move a little bit closer in order to really make out what's happening.
Let's sneak ahead.
Excellent. Daisy trots his feet on the ground, pacing awkwardly in place, and says, "Well, I am great in most situations that involve violence. If the plan is to be stealthed in some way, it is perhaps not wise that I join you. And you can tell that every time he steps, he makes loud noises because he's half horse.
I think I just want to take a closer look. Just hold on. Here, you keep Talon with you, and I'm gonna try to hand Talon to Daisy.
Daisy shrugs back and does not look comfortable with the bird on his arm and tenses up completely, not feeling it. Very well. I shall protect this creature with my life. And he draws his sword very uncomfortably. Is everyone sneaking ahead, or is it just Thorn?
Gray's definitely gonna follow up behind.
So, how are you guys going about this sneaking? Like, what's the method of your stealth?
What is the terrain? Did you say there's rocks? Like, are the rocks blocking our way? Are the trees blocking our way? The bushes? What's blocking our way?
There is a wide open space that you can see, like an opening in the trees, and but your vision is obscured by all of the rocks and trees and foliage that surrounds it. Like there's like all these vines hanging down. You just can't see. You can see blurred movement, but you can't tell like what is happening. So you would have to go all the way up to the edge of the clearing, basically, in order to get a full idea of what's going on. You might be able to go a little bit closer and learn a little bit more. Depends on how close you want to get, honestly.
Come on, y'all. Let's see what this is.
All right, yeah.
Ride the wave, dude.
So how close would you like to get? And what's your stealth approach?
I'm afloat.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be different for each of us, right? I mean...
Yeah, so each of you guys describe to me what it looks like as you stealth up to the edge of the clearing.
Yeah, Dr. Turtle tends not to make many sounds except for outside of their mouth. Outside, intern's mouth? I don't know. Anywho, so they're just gonna glide, try to avoid, low-hanging branches and stuff. Just floating on by. That's it.
Yeah, so you duck up and down. No, that's good. You duck up and down, kind of weaving slowly between the low-hanging branches and vines. Your toes barely skidding across the top of rocks as you make it up to the front. What about Yasel Gray?
Oh, gosh.
He's definitely not being the most careful with his steps. He's ducking his head, which he definitely does not need to do, and is following just a little bit too closely behind Zach, because I believe he's in the lead.
Yeah, so you're right up behind Zach, and what is Zach doing?
He's trying to tap into Thorn's rangery plant personness, and I don't actually have a move for it though. There's no like sneaky move for the ranger, at least not right now that I have. And so he's like, okay, one with the plants, and he's just trying to like move like as flowingly as he can, the way Thorn would. But I don't know how good he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say since you're leading this action, let's have you make the die roll to see how it goes.
Okay. What's Zuri doing? I feel like we haven't heard.
Oh, yeah. Zuri, are you getting up off the ground and joining?
Yeah, I thought I was like farther ahead of them. Am I not? Am I a little far back at this point?
They just caught up with you.
They caught up. Okay. So yeah, like I think I'm like still like fumbling but getting up because even though I'm like confused about how my body just started moving the way it did, I'm still like concerned about finding Maya. So I've kind of put those second thoughts to rest, and my priority is to just like see what the sound is. So I definitely like go farther ahead.
Are you trying to go stealthily or are you just going?
I think a mixture, but I'm still being like a little bit reckless, I think. But not as much. Like it's still like, I'm still like, the speed is still my concern, but I'm still trying to be stealthy about it.
Yeah. So I think, go ahead and make that roll, Ben, and let's see how this goes for the gang.
Oh, I rolled well. I rolled an 18 for us.
Ooh.
Excellent.
Yes!
So I think, as kind of the group leader of this moment, you managed to kind of keep everyone in together. So that helps you guys maintain like a group stealth kind of. Do you want to describe what that looks like?
Yeah, I do. So like when Zuri's like trying to like go past me, I sort of just like reach out and like grab her and like pull her like into like pace with me.